I don't care if you want to identify as a non-binary zebra, but I think
Zebra.
Sorry, non-binary zebra. I don't want to be offensive here.
Love it.
That's how the English say zebra. Zebras. Put your zebras on.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, blah, blah, blah. X, Y, Z.
Zed.
I'm going to paint myself as a zebra for Halloween next year.
Whatever you choose to identify as.
That was a loud reverb.
Yeah,
That was loud feedback.
Yeah. Wow.
Fucked up, guys.
I think it identifies whatever you want, but I think the institutions of what it means to be a man and what it means to be a woman are so important for a strong culture and for happiness among most normal people, right? I have no problem with anyone on the fringes who want to be non-binary, trans, anything, whatever, fine. But I would say don't devalue the norm. And it is a norm. I think a lot of people call it a spectrum. I don't really agree. I don't think it's a spectrum. I think it's more of a bell curve. It's a normal distribution. You have some people at the edges and they're not normal. But not normal is okay. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's okay to not be normal, but don't try to call not normal normal. So that's my little rant. That's my spiel.
I think that's very interesting. Just because I think we don't really know the numbers of like people that identify as, quote unquote, the not normal category.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, depending on how that ends up, as of right now, I think most people identify as,
Male or female.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And I think, so I was pausing for a second. I was like, is it hetero male or is it, but male and female, just to keep it simple. I think I agree with you. I think that, it's sort of destructive to society in general, which I think to an extent is what they're aiming at. They're trying to destroy the entire system of what we identify as, normal.
Who's they?
I'm not gonna get into. I could get into that. Well, I think a lot of like far leftist people, DSA, all those. I don't even need to name the people, but you can imagine the type of people that I'm talking about, because I've seen people on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and all these social media sites say, we need to destroy the culture that we live in, and I'm just like, this American Western culture that we live in, it's so liberal, it's so giving. It gives so much of a voice to people that don't wouldn't otherwise have a voice. There's still a lot of work to be done. Obviously 2020 was a year that showed us that there's a lot more work to be done. But at the same time, I don't think the solution to that, to achieving that voice that they want, I don't think it means destroying the norm. I still don't agree with the riots. I get why people rioted. I get why people hate heteronormative culture. I get it. It's all over. There was a huge scandal in I think it was the Emmys or the Oscars or something like that, where it was like they didn't have enough gay people or enough black people or something like that.
It's always been for the past 5 years. It's always been there hasn't been enough black people been nominated for whatever. But I wouldn't be surprised in the future if there'll be a controversy about, why is there a, best female or best male? You know what I mean? I wouldn't be surprised in the future if it's best performance, and then you fit everybody in the spectrum. But
is it still best actor and best actress?
Best
still
actress
like
in
You see, that's almost something I agree with the leftists on. Like, just make it best actor. In general. Like, why have a separate category? It's not like MMA, for instance. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you don't need divisions like that. But hey, anyway, you know, when I was reading this, I was thinking just more in general, like, you know, what is the underlying message here behind this article? And part of it, I think, was that modern women are unhappy. You know, maybe that's a broad statement. Maybe I'm painting it with a broad brush, but I have seen, you know, similar sentiment emerge, like what I was saying before, in terms of like questions of you know, and these are in mainstream articles, like mainstream publications like The Atlantic or The Times, whatever, asking, where have the good men gone? In a sense, maybe not in those exact terms, but I think you all kind of know what I'm saying. You know, when you spend several decades devaluing masculinity and holding up femininity as the gold standard of behavior, I think this is what you get. You get men who aren't proud or excited to be classically masculine, and whether they admit it or not, I think many women, even the most avowed feminists, want a masculine man. For the most part, I don't think there's. I know for sure there's deviation from that, and there's personal deviation in terms of like, hey, like I like this masculine characteristic or like this feminine characteristic, and I use those adjectives loosely. Like, you know, a woman can shoot a gun, a man can knit a sweater, whatever. But I'm talking in terms of like generalities. Yeah. I know that for me, I can only ever speak for me, but I know a whole bunch of men who will agree I prefer a feminine woman. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with a woman preferring a masculine man. And I know that I'm sure this binary exists in the LGBT world. I think they're less likely to admit it though. But I think for gay men in particular, like there's very clearly tops and bottoms. Is there not?
Yeah. But you know what? You bring up a good point because, you know, as you were saying all that stuff, it just reminded me of, I guess, the constant struggle that I go through in terms of me finding a partner. Because I would consider myself a masculine man, a masculine gay man, and I'm not so attracted to feminine gay guys. So it's a little bit difficult to find a masculine gay man. Not that it's extremely hard. I mean, this is New York City, not specifically, you know, naming where we are, but this is New York City. There's a whole spectrum of gay men out there. But these days, you know, since the LGBTQ world is kind of, I guess, you know, taking their lead in this, you know, I guess cancel culture and new kind of, you know, liberalism that we're living in. You know, if I, you know, say what I was going to say and, you know, aim to get what I want to get in terms of a gay man, you know, I'm afraid of being canceled or, you know, whatever, you know.
Canceled for what? Expressing your desire for a masculine gay person?
But not necessarily canceled. I think canceled's way more, you know, extreme. But I guess you'll be judged or you'll be looked at and they'll criticize you and they'll probably dox you on Twitter. You know, it's doxed. You know, it's you know, I mean, I'm obviously explaining the extreme cases, but I mean, I have to tippy-toe my way around the gay world for me. Because, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of guys probably won't dig me, my actual true self, you know.
That's unfortunate.
And I know you guys know who I am. So, you know, yeah, it's difficult.